His divine grace relates to Prabhupada, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhaktivedanta, all glories to Swami, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. Om Ajnana-Timirandasya Jnana Salakaya Chaturmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Balaji, move up. As I said before, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't fight. Only in a tribe. You see the tribe? Om Ajnana-Timirandasya Jnana Salakaya Chaturmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrudatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahana Lalita Shri Visakan Vidam Sha Hey Krishna Karsido Vidam Durgate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Mokte Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavadeshwari Krishna Susaya Devi Rama Panchakapa Druvesha, Privasidu Vyasha, Padinanam Bhavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhupada, Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 20, text Bali surrenders the universe. Text number 5. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Nadanyad Sukarnavat. Nadanyad Sukarnavat. Nasana Jaivanam Mrityor. Nasana Jaivanam Mrityor. Yata Vipra Vilambana. Yata Vipra Vilambana. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Nadanyat Asukarnavat. Nadanyat Asukarnavat. Nastana Jaivanam Mrityor. Nastana Jaivanam Mrityor. Yata Vipra Vilambana. Yata Vipra Vilambana. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Nadanyat Asukarnavat. Nadanyat Asukarnavat. Nasthana Chavayan Nrityo. Nasthana Chavayan Nrityo. Yatha Vipra Pralambana. Yatha Vipra Pralambana. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Nadanyat Asukarnavat. Nadanyat Asukarnavat. Nasthana Chavayan Nrityo. Nasthana Chavayan Nrityo. Yatha Vipra Pralambana. Yatha Vipra Pralambana. Ladies. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Naham Vibhemi Nirayan. Nadanyat Asukarnavat. Nadanyat Asukarnavat. Nasthana Chavayan Nrityo. Nasthana Chavayan Nrityo. Yatha Vipra Pralambana. Yatha Vipra Pralambana.
Naham Vibhemi Nirayan.
Naham Vibhemi Nirayan.
Nadanyat Asukarnavat.
Nadanyat Asukarnavat.
Nasthana Chavayan Nrityo.
Nasthana Chavayan Nrityo.
Yatha Vipra Pralambana.
Yatha Vipra Pralambana. condition of life. Na, nor, adanyat, from poverty-stricken condition. Asukha arnavat, from an ocean, from an ocean of distresses. Na, nor, sthana chavanat, from falling from a position. Mrityu, nor from death. Yata, as. Vipra pralambanat, from the cheating of a brahmana. What is pralambasura, I think, if you do that? Does pralamba means cheating? Yeah, we have a pralambasura. And we have vipra pralambana. Translation: I do not fear hell, poverty, an ocean of distress, fall down from any position, or even death itself, as much as I fear cheating a brahmana. So there's no purport, so I'll keep on reading until finally surrenders. It's taking a long time. Text number 6. My Lord, you can also see that all material opulences of this world are certainly separated from the possessors at death. Therefore, if the Brahmana of Vamanadeva is not satisfied with whatever gifts one is given, why not please him with the riches one is destined to lose at death? Please repeat. My Lord, you can also see that all the material opulences of this world are certainly separated from the possessor at death. Therefore, if the Brahmana of Vamanadeva is not satisfied with whatever gifts one is given, why not please him with the riches one is destined to lose at death? Purport: the word Vipra means Brahmana, at the same time confidential. Bali Maharaj had confidentially decided to give the gift to Lord Vamanadeva without discussion. But because of such a discussion would hurt the hearts of the Asuras and the spiritual master, ISKCON, he spoke equivocally. Bali Maharaj, as a pure devotee, had already decided to give all the land to Lord Vishnu. Text 7. Shreya Korvanti Bhutanam Sarvo Dushtya Yasubi Dajyanti Shibi Rabritaya Ko Vikalpa Dharadishu. Didachi, Shibi, and many other great personalities were willing to sacrifice even their lives for the benefit of the people in general. This is the evidence of history. So why not give up this insignificant land? What is the serious consideration against it? Purport: Bali Maharaj was prepared to give everything to Lord Vishnu and ISKCON. Being a professional priest, might have been anxiously waiting, doubting whether there had been any such instance in history in which one has given up everything in charity. Bali Maharaj, however, cited the tangible examples of Maharaj Shibi and Maharaj Didachi, who had given up their lives for the benefit of the general public. Certainly one has attachments for everything material, especially one's land. But land and other possessions are forcibly taken away at the time of death. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham. The Lord personally appeared to Bali Maharaj to take everything he had, take away everything he had. And thus he was so fortunate that he could see the Lord face to face. Non-devotees, however, cannot see the Lord face to face. To such persons, the Lord appears as death and takes away all their possessions by force. Under the circumstances, why should we not part with our possessions and deliver them to Lord Vishnu for his satisfaction? Sri Chanaka Pandit says in this regard, Sannimite varam tyago. Since our money, possessions do not last, but will somehow or another be taken away, as long as they're not in our possession, it is better to use them for charity to a noble cause. As long as they're in our possession, it is better to use them for charity to a noble cause. Therefore, Bali Maharaj defied the order of his so-called spiritual master. Om Vishnu Guraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Shrivadi Paskadyade. Bliss. Prahlad means even more bliss. So Prahlad Maharaj was even more blissful. And apratishta, tarka apratishta, so means very unsteady. Tarka apratishta shrutiya, so arguments are never going to reach a final solution. Because as we see in the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was younger, he loved to debate, especially with his friends like Mukunda. He'd give some argument and then against whatever Mukunda would say. And then Mukunda would feel defeated, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would defeat the argument that he gave. And then he'd defeat that argument. So there's an example, there's no end to the amount of arguments you can get into. But the aim of life is not to argue, although it does say Chaitanya Charitamrita that we should not, we should also engage sometime in discussion, which means argue, especially on the basis of philosophical arguments. There's a difference between mental speculation and philosophical speculation. Which means there's really no authority, there may be some authority that you put from, but you're not assimilating the knowledge, you're just getting into an argument, as it says in Bhagavad Gita, that there's different types of arguments, like Vada, and what is it, how does that verse start? You're just arguing for the sake of argument, and then there's the final conclusion. So Tarka Apradishta, we can discuss things, but it should be for the idea of actually not just trying to defeat the person, but actually trying to assimilate what they're saying. Try to see it from their point of view, so that you can actually obtain a higher point of view, rather than just arguing for the sake of argument. Tarka apratishta. So arguments are generally unsteady. Shrutiya. Shruti means the scriptures, especially the Vedas, but in this case, I guess it's any scripture. Shrutiya Vibhina. There's so many Vedas, there's so many scriptures. Like Srila Prabhupada was with Hridayananda Maharaj. Dr. Hridayananda Maharaj loved to chant shlokas, especially when he was with Prabhupada. He was chanting one sloka after another. There's so many slokas. He didn't take it so seriously. Tarka apratisha shrutiya nasa rishir. So there are so many sages. There's Gautama, there's Vaishesika, there's Vyasadeva, there's Patanjali. There's so many authorities, and they disagree with each other. So here we have scripture, we have authorities, we have the process of discussing them, and they're not really accepted as the final conclusion. Taraka apratishta shrutiya vibhina nasavarishira nayasya vina dharmasya tadvam nihitam guhayam. In other words, one has to choose some authority and follow them, or else one won't get anywhere. As Prabhupada one man was asking, can you tell me, in one class, at the end when Prabhupada asked for questions, can you tell me something about Buddhism? And Prabhupada said, are you Buddhist? He said, no. He said, do you follow Buddhism? He said, no. He said, well, do something. Follow Buddhism, then come and ask questions. Otherwise, it's just all talk. Therefore, one has to choose someone as a leader and follow them. Otherwise, one will never find out whether what they said is true or not. An intelligent person, he learns by hearing. But obviously, if you choose the wrong arguments or get into an argument, you won't learn anything. And if you just read so many scriptures, you won't learn anything either. They'll just get confused, as Prabhupada said. My disciples, they bring these big, big books, and they read them, they just get confused. What is that, Siddhanta, Chalya, what is it, Chitta?
Yeah. Bahushashta, Bahuganta, Bahubhakya, Chitta Brahma hoy. Shadan Shrestha, Nishchoy na hoy.
Which means?
So many scriptures, so many instructions, Chitta Brahma hoy, one becomes confused in the heart, and the conclusion, Nishta hoy na, is not clear.
Yes, it can't. So, you can bring so many authorities, so many scriptures, so many arguments, and you just wind up bewildered. At the end of the day, you just eat prasadam and go to sleep. That's your realization of the goal of life. So, dharmasya tattva means to actually see something. Tat means that. So that's one Sanskrit word that's for an English speaker is very easy to memorize. Because you just add an H and you get that. And tattva, tva, means something you can actually experience that's perceivable, that's understandable. Dharmasya, and dharma means something that has a quality to it that you can actually experience. Dharmasya tattva nihitam guhayam. So, actual experience is hidden in the heart of a person who has experience. Now, so many people have experience, but most people don't care about anyone's experience. They only care about their own experience. Therefore, mahajno yena kata savanta. So the injunction is actually choose some authority, choose someone and follow them. Just don't talk, just don't read, just don't choose so many different authorities. Like at the beginning of our society, when they had the zonal Acharya system, and everyone had to take shelter of a zonal Acharya and get initiated by them. But the zonal Acharyas, they all had different tastes for everything, including prasadam. So then, some of them, they accepted pizza and ice cream and 7-Up. You could offer it to them. So some devotees chose them as Shiksha Gurus. Because although their initiating guru wouldn't accept pizza and ice cream and 7-Up, but at least their Shiksha Gurus would. So they'd offer to the Shiksha Guru. So we have to choose some Mahajan, someone to follow. Prabhupada said, in the mode of ignorance, we can choose Ravana. There's even a Ramayana which has Ravana as the hero. There's a Ramayana in the mode of ignorance, and Ravana is the hero of that Ramayana. So choose someone, even choose Ravana. Otherwise, we just choose somebody, we just pick and choose as we like. This devotee, he's my authority now, and tomorrow some other devotee is my authority. If my guru doesn't agree with me, he doesn't understand me, he gives me instruction I don't like, so I just reject him, and I choose another guru. Until I finally find my soul guru, my soulmate guru, who agrees with everything I say. He gives me blessings for everything I want to do. Guru, I want to jump off the building. So be it. Our Prabhupada wasn't like that. For instance, one came to Prabhupada when it was 26th Avenue, 67, and devotees were living in the ashram. One of them came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, can you give me $50 because I want to buy a gallon of gasoline and burn myself to death. So Prabhupada called for his treasurer, Gargamuni, and said to Gargamuni, this devotee, he needs $50 so he can buy a gallon of gasoline so he can burn himself to death. Can you give him $50? So Gargamuni said, Swamiji, I'm sorry, we don't have $50. So Prabhupada looked at the boy and said, sorry, we don't have $50. So then the boy left and Prabhupada told Gargamuni, this boy is crazy. How did Prabhupada know the boy was crazy? Because gasoline at that time only cost around 25 cents a gallon. So it only costs 25 cents a gallon. He's asking for $50 for a gallon of gasoline. He must be crazy. So Prabhupada wasn't that kind of guru. He said, $50, well, here. He burns up to death. Who's actually gives us the idea of beginning with we're not this body. In other words, not blind following is probably right. Blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. One should not only hear submissively, but one should get a clear understanding through submission, service, and inquiries. In other words, whatever we're aiming for, we want to realize it. We want to get that. That's why we're doing it. Why do people go to university? To get a degree. So they should carry it out and should get the degree. That's their duty to get the degree. And if they don't do it, they always wonder what it would be like to have the degree. And then they get more attached to getting the degree than they would be if they actually got it. It's like a brahmachari who becomes brahmastra, a combination of grihastha and a grihastha. He doesn't want to get married. He's a big macho brahmachari. Every time he sees a woman who's about to spit, as it's advised in the Shastra, at least he thinks it is. And that's usually the first brahmachari that gets married. Because he's always thinking about women. I hate women, I hate women, women, hate. And therefore he becomes even more attached than a normal person does to a woman. Just like when a devotee becomes desirous of enjoying sense gratification, and he's always thinking of leaving the movement, but he feels guilty and what will happen to him. And then when he leaves the movement, he usually falls down even lower than a normal person in the world, because he can't get out of his mind his guilt, and therefore he has to submerge himself in intoxication and other things in order to forget Krishna. Therefore, at least one should try to experience, if one is so attached to something, how does that verse go? How one is called a pretender? That's the first word of that verse. So we have a Bhagavad Gita.
Yasindriyani samyamya. Yasindriyani samyamya.
What's the first word?
Yes.
Tasya?
Yes. Yasindriyani samyamya.
Yes, Yandriyani samyam niyamya paratarshva. No, that's not right either. Yaste manasasmara nidyatrasa uchate. One who restrains his senses and organs of action, but his mind dwells in sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. On the other hand, who yes indriyani, karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasasmaran, indriyani vimura nityatra suchate. So one kamendriya yani samyam, one who controls the kamendriyas, the organs of action. Kamendriyani samyam yaste manasa, but his mind dwells in sense objects. Yaste manasa. Indriyani vimudatma. Mityacho sauchite. He's considered a pretender. He's only cheating himself. Therefore, the idea is that rather than just talk about something, or hear about something, or admire someone or whatever, do something. It's like nowadays people just go to a football game or a stadium and they watch the sports and they think they're actually getting exercise. Because nowadays people are so lazy, they don't even go to the stadium anymore. They just watch it on television. They see people practically killing themselves on some kind of sports field. And they sit at home eating ice cream and potato chips and with a remote because they're too lazy. And they think they're a great sportsman, they're great sportsmen. Therefore, here, although Śrīmad said, we're, Bali Maharaj is saying, giving now the example of Dadachi. Dadachi, when the Vritrasura was smashing the demigods. Actually, before he was smashing. When Vritrasura was there as a menace to the demigods, because this is the 8th canto. Bhagavatam is not meant for material happiness, to encourage us in material happiness. And therefore it describes, before we get into the 10th canto, even the heavenly planets. We may think, all right, this world is terrible right now. The air is polluted, the water is not so good in some places. Food could be better. Kali, so much bad news. Let me go to the heavenly planets. There, you live for so long, and the women are submissive and they're beautiful and the men are strong and have all kinds of opulence. Let me go there and enjoy it for some time. I need a vacation. But here, this is meant to dispel this idea that we're actually going to become happy in the heavenly planets. We're going to be happy with mystic power, with some material opulence. It's meant to discourage from, all right, I give up this planet and I'm going to do devotional service. And as Prabhupada said, many of my disciples, or most of my disciples, their aim is to go to the heavenly planets. So this is meant to discourage us, because otherwise we get to the 10th canto, we won't be able to actually we won't have a pure mind, which is necessary to actually be able to hear the 10th canto and actually experience Krishna consciousness just by hearing. It says that there is a television within our heart, a transcendental TV set, but it's broken. And therefore we can't turn on to channel Krishna and see Krishna's pastimes. So this Krishna consciousness movement is simply a repair movement. We're just trying to repair our heart so we can turn on to channel Krishna and go back to the spiritual world that way. Turning on to channel Krishna means that you're in the spiritual world. You don't have to wait till the next lifetime. We can turn on to channel Krishna. And the channel has one pastime of Krishna going on after another. Swarasiki is called. Therefore, this is meant to discourage us. All right, I'm not going to go to Indra Loka. I'm not even going to become Indra and then wind up with sin personified chasing after me because I killed a Brahman, having to live in a lotus flower for thousands and thousands of years, the demigods, and starving to death practically. And I need my assistant to come and give me something to eat, because living in a lotus flower is, rather restrictive. And there's not much you can eat unless you start eating the petals. So it's not meant to be the glorious place that we should all desire to go to. There's so many problems. You wind up in the heavenly planets, and someone takes this. It's just the time when Vritrasura is appearing for his pastime. As soon as you get there, you look up, there's a big foot, it's about to squash you. And you're back in Melbourne again. And it's the end of Kali Yuga. You're only there for one moment. But that was 10,000 years. And when you get back here and there's all these little people looking at you with a smile, and you got to start running. Because it's Sunday, it's time for the Sunday feast, and you're on the menu. So Dadachi, he gave his bones in order to build the thunderbolt that Indra was able to use to kill Vritrasura. But Vritrasura was the devotee, and Indra was a demon, practically speaking, in this pastime. And he got sinful reactions. And he had to flee from sin personified. And Shibi was a great king who a pigeon took shelter of him because the pigeon was being chased by a hawk. And Shibi, the pigeon, asked for shelter. They're very intelligent pigeons, but not like the Kali Yuga pigeons. But then again, Shibi was quite intelligent too. Maybe you could talk with a pigeon. We're not so intelligent we can't talk to the pigeons. Anyhow, the pigeon asked for protection, and he granted protection because he was a great king. So the hawk came and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm protecting the pigeon." "Why are you protecting the pigeon?" "Because I'm a king. I'm supposed to give protection to my citizens." So he said, "But I'm a hawk. I'm supposed to eat pigeons. So you're taking away my food." So the king said, "All right, I'll give you my flesh and the weight of the pigeon." So these were big kshatriyas. They were, I guess, they were pretty big pigeons too back then. In any case, so the king started to cut his flesh from his own body and put it on the scale, and the pigeon on the other side of the scale. But it didn't really matter because as much flesh as he cut, pigeon would get heavy. So then finally the king put himself on the scale. And then the pigeon and the hawk revealed themselves as Indra and Agni. So this is charity, giving your bones. Imagine your spiritual master comes and says, my dear disciple, I need some bones. Can you give me your bones? Can I give you a little flesh? Instead, I need your bones. Just like Radhanath Maharaj, one time he went to the Brahmacharya ashram and said, could someone die for me? So the Brahmacharyas were all confused. He said, could someone die for me? So finally one Brahmacharya said, yes, Guru Maharaj, I'll die for you. So then Radhanath Maharaj gave him the white dhoti that he had and said, dye it saffron. So some of us will die for our spiritual master. As long as it's saffron, we have to try to dye his clothes. But these devotees, they were willing to die free, as this was pointed out by Krishna and Bhima and Arjuna when they went to Jarasandha and asked for a battle. Actually, they went as brahmanas asking for charity, but Jarasandha was very charitable and he was willing to give whatever the brahmanas asked. Even at that time, the Kshatriyas were not only strong, but they were also very charitable. Like Karna was very charitable, so he gave a benediction to Kunti that he wouldn't kill her sons. At least he let them go at least one time. And here Jarasandha was very charitable. He was a big demon, but he was charitable. Now we have big devotees. You ask them for 50 cents for a bus, they say, sorry, Prabhu. So these demons were they would give to the Brahmins. So they came in the dress of Brahmins. And in order to encourage Jarasandha to give what they were actually asking for, Krishna gave the example of here, the same thing, Shibi and others who had given in charity and therefore achieved immortal fame. So they did it to get immortal fame. Well, actually, that's what Jarasandha was interested in. But they got immortal fame by doing it. They didn't necessarily do it to get immortal fame. But that's what Jarasandha said, well, if I can get immortal fame by giving charity, like these people, like Shibi and others, and I'll give my head if it's necessary. Because he looked at them and they had these marks of a bow on their shoulders and had deep voices, and they were big. Brahmins were little guys at that time. The Kshatriyas were like 6 meters high. The Brahmins were only 5. They were little tiny guys. So these aren't Brahmins, these are Kshatriyas, but they're so degraded that they're coming begging for me. So I'll give them whatever they want. So here, Bali Maharaj is giving the example of history, the example of great personalities, and what they did, so he's just following them. Who can complain? Who can say that he's not doing the right thing? He's citing the example of great personalities in the past, and he's simply following them. And here it mentions also that he didn't want to hurt the feelings of the demons. Because most of us, we couldn't care less about hurting other people's feelings. And what to speak of demons? It used to be one of our pastimes. When you're on Buddhist fusion, you're in these colleges in America, and they have all these born-again fanatical Christians coming, saying you're all going to hell. And then the devotees used to take pleasure defeating them. They walk away, they're angry. You just have to say, oh, the Bible, you got to surrender. And I said, sure, which Bible? I said, King James, or but actually the original Bible was written in Greek, in Aramaic. Jesus Christ spoke in Aramaic. This book is in what language is it? It's in English. Who knows what it says? And then you start quoting the Greek, Greek translation, the Arabic, and they get like completely bewildered. And they say, "You're the devil," or as one priest said. He said, "Your arguments are so good, they must come from the devil." So here we find that Bali Maharaj is giving these great arguments. He doesn't want to hurt the feelings of the demons because he doesn't want to reject what they're saying. He's just saying that, well, as sometimes the Christians say, the flesh is, the spirit is strong, but the flesh is weak. So we've taken up the Hare Krishna movement because followers of Jesus, this is our fault. The flesh is weak, so therefore we're following the Hare Krishna movement. So don't get angry with us. No, it's perfect. Actually, when I was distributing books to the Arabs in the airport, they were our best customer. They'd give the biggest donations. Because we go, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam, kif halak, alhamdulillah, sukriya. They say, oh, you're speaking Arabic. You don't look Arabic. So I'd say, I'm only half Arabic. I'm only half an Arab. Oh, he said, and then I'd say, because no one's perfect. And they like that. And I'd say, give some flus. And flus is like a slang for money. So they give big, they give nice donations. They thought, yeah, friend. Paisano. So he didn't want to hurt the feelings of the demons, therefore he's giving another, examples from history that he's just following these guys. They're historical examples. This is in the Shastra, this is in history, and these are great persons. I just decided to follow them, so please don't get angry with me. The spirit is strong, but the flesh is weak. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? It's an airplane. Yes.
Hey Krishna Maharaj, next class. Maharaj, you mentioned how we should have one leader and one acharya to follow. So we see in Krishna Maharaj, we have so many Shiksha gurus and Diksha gurus, and even in school we have the teachers. Sometimes I learn more from my
What's that? I'm here in the airplane. It's talking to me.
You mentioned how we should have one leader.
No, I heard that part.
Yeah, but we also have a lot of Shiksha gurus and Diksha gurus in Krishna consciousness. And even in school we have so many teachers that I learn more from my non-devotee friends. So who are our Shiksha gurus? Are they the ones that tell us only about Krishna?
There's only one guru. Do you know who the one guru is? Yes, Krishna. There's only one message. That's Krishna's message. And everyone is guru if they actually repeat that message. Now there's not a different guru, there's not a different Krishna in my heart than in yours, or in anyone else. It's the same guru. Therefore, Dadami Buddha, and he has the same message. He's not schizophrenic. He doesn't say one message to one person, different message to someone else. Now, he may give a different message, same message, but in a different way, to different persons, according to how much they're engaged in his service with enthusiasm. Ye tamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. So everyone is actually engaged in Krishna's service, either directly or indirectly, according to how much they're surrendered to him. Therefore, we have to know what Krishna says, and we have to hear everyone else's instructions. An example and put them into the perspective of what Krishna said. And then we have to choose which one Krishna wants me, which message Krishna wants me to follow. Like when Haridas Thakur was brought before the Qazi, and the Qazi said, you were a nice Muslim, you were actually doing quite well. You know, you were fortunate to be born in the family of a Muslim, but somehow you become contaminated, now you're converted into a Hindu. So Haridas Thakur was listening to him, thinking, this is Krishna talking to me, it's the illusory energy. He wasn't disturbed, but this is the illusory energy talking to me. This is Krishna talking to me through the illusory energy. So then he said, sure, you have right now, you know what to do. You know, Sanatana Goswami told the Qazi, he said, yeah, you're the king, you know, you're in charge, you're the representative of Krishna. You're going to do whatever you want to do, you know what to do. You're Krishna's representative, do what you want to do. I'm not going to go with you, but I'm not, you know, do what, you're the charge, you're the king. So punish me accordingly. So he arrested him. And Sanatana Goswami wasn't lamenting about it. Or as it says in the beginning of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, 10th canto of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Vasudeva was trying to reason with Kamsa in so many different ways, giving him philosophy, but it didn't work. He did the best he could with his intelligence, and then he surrendered. I got to do something else. I'm not going to convince this person. So therefore, they had no fault because he did the best he could, trying to convince him. Then, of course, he offered something which is unusual. He offered the children to give to Kamsa, because he had it, because that's all he could do at that particular point. So he accepted it as Krishna's arrangement, and it was. Otherwise, how did it make it into the 10th canto? Krishna did have an arrangement, and Vasudeva recognized that, and he did what was necessary. But we should know it's in the scripture. Yakshastra vidim usrija vartate kamakarata nisansidim avatnoti nasakam naparam gadim. One who rejects scripture and acts whimsically according to lust, anger, and greed obtains neither peace nor happiness nor the supreme destination. Tasmat shastram pramanam te karya vyachito gatsva shastra vinanokta karma harasi. Once you know what is duty, what is not duty through the regulations of Shastra, and knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that one can gradually become purified. So we have a choice. Either we follow Shastra, and someone is repeating Shastra, or we follow lust, anger, and greed. Either way will be under the Krishna's energies, either internal or external. It's our choice, simply which energy we want to be under, that's all. Yes.
So Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, are one of them sufficient to make your case, or do you need to provide evidence from all three?
Well, you need Guru and Shastra. It's probably right in the Guru and Sadhu is more or less the same. In the Bhagavad Gita 1857, Cetasa sarva karmani maya sanyasya matraha buddhi yogam upashitya masjita sadatam bhava. And all activities and for the results just depend upon me, or go is under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that for one to act in Krishna consciousness, he doesn't act as the master of the world. Just like a servant, one should act fully in the direction of the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord, he's the owner of everything. So whatever one has, just like another example is if you're working in a bank, whatever you're handling the money, it's not yours, you're just counting it. So then the question is, Prabhupada asks, well, if Krishna is not present, how should one act? So Prabhupada writes, if one acts according to Krishna's directions in this book, as well as under the direction of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. You need both. You need Guru and Shastra. Guru and Sadhu, both. Guru is the one who repeats Shastra, and Sadhu follows Shastra. And Shastra is spoken by Krishna. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the nice class. You're talking about Arabic food distribution. Could you share some tips from your experience?
Well, the best tip is when you go on book distribution, see everyone as Krishna's eternal servant, and you're simply delivering a message to them. And in order to encourage them to take message, tell them how wonderful they are. What is that verse by Prabhupada Saraswati? That something about taking a straw in your mouth, bowing down 100 times, saying, "Oh sadhu, oh great soul, you're so effulgent I can hardly see you. I'm surrendered to you." So, and then they say, "Yes, my great devotee, what benediction can I give you? So please take this book and read it and give up all your nonsense and surrender to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." You don't tell them that. You just tell them, take the book and give a donation. So that's it. See everyone there as Krishna's eternal servant. Tell them how wonderful they are, how much you appreciate them. Not only tell them, but actually, get them, have some appreciation. They, you ask them a question they can answer. Like, as you knock on the door, people open the door, and then you just ask them, "Do you live here?" So most of the time we'll get a yes. That's very valuable to get a yes or an agreement. Or you say, you ask them questions like what they can relate to. "Excuse me, are you from here or out of town?" "Well, I'm from here." "Wow, I met a lot of nice people from here." "And are you? What kind of work do you do?" "I'm an engineer." "Wow, are you a good engineer?" Do you have any kids?" "I have 2 kids." "Wow, you got a good family." Just get yes, 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 and they say, "Can you give me a donation?" They go, They spend 2 minutes saying yes, yes, yes. How can I say no? There's all yeses. So compliment them, make them feel good, and then get them to agree, and then just ask for a donation. Anything else? Say something. Vaishya Prabhu has some good tips in his book. Like things like, good lines, like people are spending trillions of dollars looking outside, and this book teaches you how to find happiness, and this book teaches you how to find happiness within. Something intelligent. I usually just say, especially here in Australia, I say, "Here, take this book." He said, "I'm a monk." And I just asked them, "Do you know what a monk is?" And they say, "Well, I think so." "Well, I'm not a punk, I'm not a skunk, I'm a monk." Get them to laugh. Especially if they laugh, and get someone to laugh, and then they feel good, and then they'll probably take the book. Identify the book. It's a really good book. Yes.
But specifically for Arabic people, how would you approach them?
Arabic?
Yeah, Arabic.
Assalamu alaikum. Kif halak? You learn the prayer. There is no Lord, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the prophet. They go, "Oh." I don't know if you have to tell them that, you could tell them, and they can look at you and say, "You don't look Arab, or you don't look like you're an Arab." And you just say, "Well, I'm only half Arab." No one's perfect. Anything else? Thank you very much. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah. There's some information there.
Go straight away.